Wouldn't it be great, guys, if our limbic system worked in reverse? Instead of latching on to every horrific thing and reminding us of every trauma we've ever had, this sort of never forgetting limbic system, like some kind of loyal pet, like a pet dog that barks at every damn thing that passes by the house. Wouldn't it be awesome if it worked in reverse? If the limbic system latched on to the good, every compliment you heard, if it was prone to good things and kindness and relaxation, instead of provoking the hyperarousal response, if it instead, when you heard good things, it provoked relaxation in that same way. I mean, it really pains me. In some ways, you look at it and you think evolution made a mistake here, but really it didn't. I mean, yeah, that would be great. And also, there's a lot of people that are sort of looking at it as though we are at a very dynamic shift in our evolution, that it seems like evolution stopped or it slowed down. I don't think that's the case. I think right now we're in a very dynamic transition from a creature that has evolved through fear, fight or flight, survival instincts that had to be extremely high. I mean, as being a human, we are super vulnerable. We're almost more vulnerable than most predators out there, right? Even though we are the apex predator because of our intelligence, certainly not our bodies. We're weak, we're fragile, we're prone to disease and sickness, and we age. And we're no match for a lion, an alligator, a crocodile, a grizzly bear, or a tiger, right? Or another ape in the jungle, even. So we had to evolve with this sort of. It's a prone to react response. It's an overreactive nervous system, because if something approached us, say any kind of danger, we needed to be able to kick in the gear within a split second and fight that thing off. This is why we lose control of our emotions. Someone says one insulting thing, one triggering thing, one thing that just bothers you or demeans you, and you go there. You're ready to fight. Or you're really anxious and you're ready to run. You're ready to panic. Your nervous system goes one way or the other, right? And it happens so fast because it's any perception of danger, and the limbic system is ready to kick in and go, let's go. We're not taking any chances. And what you need in order to kind of fix that, this is always going to be working against us, because that's the way nature designed us as a creature of survival. And that's where a lot of the mindfulness practices come in and teach us how to slow our thoughts, slow our breath, and put a gap in between that sort of impulsive reaction of the nervous system. So when someone insults you, let's say, or you see something that's triggering, that instead of just going from 1 to 100 quickly, you have this sort of buffer system in between there that we're building, that you still feel those emotions rise up in you. Okay, something triggered you. But then we have this sort of little gap there where we can jump in there and take a breath and make a choice to say, you know what? I'm going to let this go. I'm going to turn the page, turn the channel. I'm going to forgive this person. I'm going to reframe the situation, whatever this trigger is. And I'm just going to, maybe you're on Facebook and you see some triggering post pop up and you just scroll past it. You don't have to feed it. You don't have to latch onto it. And you certainly don't have to react to it. Right? And by reacting, I mean you get triggered, boom, intrusive thoughts, rumination comes pouring in, and what do? We react out of our maladaptive coping. It's instinctual. I mean, it's part of the fight or flight response. Our limbic system is activated. Maybe we get in bed, where our symptoms rise. We get on Facebook or these forums or YouTube, and we're looking for answers. WebMD. We just get pulled into the undertow of this thing. And rumination has us. It has its hooks in us. So constantly therapy has been trying to, enable us to sort of override this evolutionary, almost a hiccup. I guess you could look at it that way. Really, it's not. It's just an uncomfortable, unfortunate part of our evolution that we're here. We're here. We're not at the point yet. And I believe this is what we are indeed evolving to be, is a more rational, pragmatic thinking creature. A creature that can be, that can respond instead of reacting. Reacting is reflexive, but to respond with something, to choose a response. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you don't just lose it and chase after him, right? You have a moment to say, okay, that bothered me, that angered me. I'm going to understand it, reframe it, process it, let it go, and choose a different path there, and not choose anger or violence or fear or sadness. I mean, that's the real disposition. And this is such a challenge in anything, whether someone is being aggressive to you, or you're going through a bad breakup, you're being triggered by your doctor, or someone in your household, or just your own limbic system is sort of trolling you, making you afraid and phobic at so many things. But the mechanism there is it gets reinforced the more we react. That's how we've evolved. So if somebody cuts you off in traffic and you respond quickly with anger, you're going to be more likely to respond that way the next time you get cut off in traffic, right? Like, we learn these things, and the brain says, oh, good, he got angry, he got cut off, he reacted with anger, and somehow this facilitated his survival or her survival. So we're trying to fight back against this sort of evolution, this thing that evolution has instilled in us. And it's a shame, because, like I said, if the limbic system worked in reverse, how sweet would it be? If we could remember every compliment, every beautiful day. I often say, if you're driving down the road, you could pass the most beautiful rose bushes, drive right by them, not even pay a second of attention to them. But if you see a car accident or two people fighting on the side of the road, you'll slow down and rubberneck to see it. You can't take your eyes off it. You pull out your phone, you start recording it. Like, this is just how we're made. We are prone to the negative. We're prone to the violence. We're prone to the sadness, the fear. This is what a big primal piece of our nervous system is wired for, and it's wired for survival. It's not wired because it hates us, and evolution necessarily got it wrong. It's survival. These are our instincts. And like I said, I truly believe we are evolving. We are, every century it seems to be that we're getting a little more peaceful, a little more loving, we're a lot more evolved. I mean, if you just go back 100 years ago and look at the state of things, and politics aside, I know people will say, oh, the good old days, but I'm talking, before we even had penicillin. I'm talking before men and women and people of color could vote. I'm talking the atrocities that have been poured down over the centuries. I mean, even far back as when Kennedy was in office, and the atrocities of our government and just all of it, FDA and all of these things that we've been evolving, and they're clunky and they're not perfect, but we're becoming a smarter, evolved race, of a human race. And we're noticing things, and we're saying, this is not right. Animals should be treated better. Poverty isn't right. People need to be educated. People need to be clothed. They need to be fed. This is the way we're evolving, thankfully. And it's dynamic from the time that we fed people to lions in the Colosseum, right? So while things aren't perfect, and yes, believe me, I can be a very harsh critic of the human race at times, and I think we could be doing a hell of a lot better. But nonetheless, we are evolving. I definitely see a trend where we're trying to evolve. We're trying to figure this thing out and be more loving and accepting of each other. And I think that signals a dynamic shift in our consciousness, and one that I truly believe for a long time now, that it's been a shift from fear, this sort of fear, automatic fear resonance base of evolution in our limbic system, to love, from a base of hyperreactivity to I get to choose how I'm going to react, or how I'm going to respond, rather, right? I'm going to choose to let this go. I'm going to choose to forgive. I'm going to choose love over fear, for example, no matter what you're going through. In the eyes of Benzos, you might look at it like every trigger, that you could go running with, or you could stop and say, this is the voice of my limbic system. This is the voice of fear, of survival. And it's not true. I will heal. I am indeed healing. Everybody makes a full recovery. I too will make a full recovery. I can do this. I will survive this. I am strong enough. I will be a better person on the other side of this. Right? This is what we wish our limbic system automatically, spoke to us as. Oh man, how much better would life be? How much easier and simpler. But I think this is our burden. This is where we are in our human evolution. It's on us to facilitate and change our nervous system. And indeed it is. It really is. All the studies seem to be showing that even on the level of the central nervous system, there is a change happening here, even with mental illness. and how we react to these. There is a dynamic change happening,